So my name's Chris. I spent 25 years in the British Army, where I saw the very best and the worst of mankind. I left to try and have a positive effect as a social entrepreneur last year. But I was reflecting recently that during a firefight in Iraq, it dawned on me that had I been born in Basra, I probably would have been fighting myself. I can also tell you that the one thing more important than understanding your own capabilities and that on the ground is knowing the human terrain. And I knew very little about the young men that were firing at me, and they knew nothing of me or my soldiers. Our knowledge was constrained and limiting. But every general, every commander wants to know what's over the hill and in the minds of the people, both his own or her own and the opponents. But people, all of us today, need new approaches to remove injustice and rebalance society and create opportunities, and we need them very fast. And that's what Cordial World sets out to do, to amplify unheard voices, to increase understanding and improve outcomes through better collaboration, decision, and action. Why? Because citizens are growing more frustrated as they witness policy decisions that are divergent from the needs of the people. Trust in institutions is weakening because 2/3 of change initiatives fail. 2/3 of people don't trust social media, and 2/3 of people believe that their voices are unheard. Within the US, election results have misaligned with the popular vote. Within the UK, the levelling up agenda, we see a capability and capacity gap in governance at the hyper-local level. If you ask the wrong questions of the wrong people, or you don't listen to their answers, you get the wrong outcome and you waste valuable time and money. So we need to set the conditions for effective sense-making and collaboration and shift to a confident, activated citizenship. We can imagine a society where people's unique genius, personal insight, and lived experience are called at the right time and place to address complex challenges together. Our ambition is to create a world through an inclusive, well-framed dialogue that leads to action with organic, community-driven approaches. We plan to do this by building an inclusive and authentic platform where trust and dignity are paramount, where barriers to entry are low, so people that can co-create value together in new ways for their organizations, their communities, or the broader ecosystem. Hearing another person's authentic voice has the ability to completely change our perceptions. And I'm sure you can all imagine a time where that's happened to you as well. We want to be able to have multiple perspectives, particularly from those who are marginalized or have been missing from traditional dialogue. And this diversity enables a more holistic view of the current situation and its impact on all those in the ecosystem. Through this understanding, we can begin to build trusted relationships and experiment to learn what works to pull the future that we desire. And rather than starting a community from scratch, we plan to meet people where they already participate. The Cordial World platform will integrate with today's social networking and collaboration tools, and then bridge to a decentralized solution using Web3 technology to provide real data ownership, privacy, and identity. To capture sentiment, we'll use novel opinion mapping software to capture emotion and trust ratings to enable effective measurement and sense-making at scale. We also know that we have to provide intrinsic and extrinsic value to attract and grow the network. Through their contribution, individuals will gain insight into their own genius. They'll be able to collaborate together and belong to those groups, and they will receive fair reward for their contribution. And organizations will benefit from access to wider perspectives and cognitive diversity to get the right answers to real problems, saving them time and money and avoiding wasted resources. And we believe that Cordial World directly supports the RSA's mission to build a fairer, more regenerative, resilient future, one that's better than the one that we inherited. We're a small team of volunteers and we're loosely partnered with 3 universities in the UK, but we have a short entrepreneurial runway. We are crowdfunding in the summer, and we're keen now to find advocates and partners. We'd love to receive the feedback from this and to hear from any fellow who may have addressed some of the pieces of this puzzle already, or who work in areas of public value, collaboration, matching algorithms, fundraising, or partnerships. Thank you.
Joining us. Our project is Creativity Offers a New Formula for Life. Our project explores how creativity can be used to provide solutions to world problems, help us to adapt to change through creative innovation, science, and manufacturing. It's a global project with leads from 5 continents. The leads have committed to making this project a reality. It includes RSA fellows and other contacts, and our aim is to curate a collection of global creative experiences, and experience is key to this. We want to create a unique opportunity to harness collaboration across all lived experience around the world. The end result will culminate in a visitor experience in the real and virtual world, a coming together that can be a catalyst for positive change. We already have a community that is committed already to citizens that want to make changes in a positive world. And this commitment is only the beginning. If everybody works together, this change can become a reality. We already have a team. We have Zoe, obviously, we have myself, we have Carlos, who's an amazing TED speaker and, inventor, futurist. We have Mitch, who I believe is joining us. Hi, Mitch. And Mitch works in academic business advisor, developing strategies and aligning products and services. And we have Rashida, who works for renewable energies, finance, and Linda, I'm not sure if Linda's here, she's Professor of Education and Human Services. So that's our core team, and within that core team, we have people that are actually working with us as well. So we're always looking for more people to join our team and join our project.
So what is it that we actually want to achieve? Well, 2 years ago, we undertook a project and we used the opportunity of the pandemic. We turned something that was unifying in a negative way into unifying in a positive way. And we took that time to reimagine learning. We produced a paper that was created by 30 different authors, and it was an incredible experience. We had people across the world bringing their experience of the pandemic and what their thoughts would be on how that opportunity could change learning globally. So we're going to use the same framework. This time, it's about putting creativity back at the heart of everything that we do. We've fallen into a world that wants to measure everything and sees measurement as a way of verifying everything that is valuable. Well, we want to turn that on its head and go back to the unmeasurable, the personal, the extraordinary, and those incredible moments when we all experience something wonderful every day of our lives. We want to understand what that feels like on a global perspective. So we're using the word creativity in English, in the English language. That will be reflected into the languages of at least 100 people across the world. And we will record their response to a creative activity that they identify themselves. That we will then put together as a live experience that we will literally hand the baton round the world, starting at dawn in one country and ending at dusk in the next. That, a bit like the Olympic torch, really, Julie was saying it might be a bit like. That will also be recorded as some physical and digital artifacts, that we will then record into a large concertina style book that will be delivered to the RSA house. And we're hoping that that will form a small display that people can experience. That book, if we're lucky, will also be duplicated to the 5 continents and the various countries in which we have participants. So the record of that experience will be available on a global basis. The book itself, whilst being physical, will also be the portal into the digital experiences. So the experience may be in words, in pictures, in sounds. It is to replace creativity at the heart of everything that we do. And we need you to help us get there. So we're looking for 100+ contributors to join the team. We have 4 continents covered already. So we have representation and commitment from the people that Julie showed you on the previous screens. They will be guiding the various countries and continents through the project. We're starting next month. Our second launch event is actually next Thursday. And you can get that information from the augmentedsociety.org. So now is the time to join us. We will be delivering the actual experience in autumn of next year. So that's autumn of 2023. So this is a slow burn. And this is as much about you and how you feel, and a moment that we hope we can create for you, just in thinking about what you do as a creative person, because we're all creative. Thank you.
In 2010, I was living in a beautiful small river community about an hour north of Sydney in Australia. And I owned a motor scooter and was driving it along one day, and the engine broke down. And lots of stress later, some lost hair, great expense, and about 100 kilometers worth of ferrying this motor scooter back and forth, I had it fixed. 2 weeks later, I was down at the pub catching up with a neighbor, and I told them about the circumstance that had happened. And this gentleman turned around to me and said, like, why didn't you bother reaching out to me? You know, I had exactly the part that you needed. I'm a trained mechanic in the past and would have been happy to help you. And this person lived 2 doors down from me. And that's the irony of the modern market. You can have a piece of machinery sent efficiently from another part of the world, but you might not know that your neighbor has that piece of machinery or the skills to help you out with it. And I noticed in my work in community development throughout the years, especially at this time, that march of capitalism that was eroding the sense of trust that was built historically on shared trade in communities like mine. I noticed that my local economy was collapsing, largely due to the success of online behemoths that were largely built and predicated on wage labor that was exploitative, and that all of the products, including many of the services that were being offered, were typically with long supply chains, very large environmental footprints. And so I had been working, as mentioned, in community development for many years and been participating in barter networks, local exchange trading systems, things like Craigslist or the equivalents in various places I've been living around the world. But I hadn't found a combination of something that was both intimate and efficient. Usually one of the platforms would sort of move on to one side of that, focusing on efficiency at the loss of intimacy, or focusing on intimacy at the loss of having a lot of my needs and offers exchanged. So I put together a project that I started lean testing called the Offers and Needs Market. And the Offers and Needs Market is a 2-hour process that happens either online or in person, where people come together to share what they're offering This can be passions, knowledge, skills, resources, opportunities, or needs. And it's been designed in a particular way. The offers and needs market has been 12 years in the making. Every single time we've run this process where people come together and share their offers and needs, we've been surveying and learning about and refining the process. And over the years, 10 design secrets have emerged that make this process quite distinct. So it starts with a process where people get to reflect on what they got to offer in silence. Then there's a sharing round, and then there's a chance to connect and network. And then we do that again for the needs after the offers round, and then we combine offers and needs. And these design secrets, as you'll see, are quite distinct. They're facilitator techniques that we've learned over the years are very, very particular. So for example, just to pick one of them, the strengths-based phasing. We begin with offers rather than needs. Why? Because the psychological literature and all of our experience shows that when we begin processes with what we have and an exploration of what we're beginning with, we start in the prefrontal neocortex, which is a much more creative space for engagement rather than a deficit-based approach of starting with what we don't have. So you'll see there are a lot of design input that continues to go into creating a very packed 2-hour process that delivers some incredible results. We've had over 200 people go through training that we facilitate, 4 facilitators to run this process because it has so many secret ingredients in there. We've had more than 10,000 participants across, I think, somewhere like 20 countries now, across all different continents. And the outcomes here are quite astounding, especially given it's just a 2-hour process. The average person, each person on average will have close to 5 offers or needs matched. And we're talking everything from people who are looking for a job, people who'd like to share language translation services. Sometimes for in-person events, some people are offering a hug. It can be everything from professional through to things that are happening in the informal economy. And we've even seen people land jobs that have seen them move countries, as well as people get married as a result of meeting in an offers and needs market. So it really opens up pathways that are quite incredible. 74% of people who show up at an offers and needs market find a project collaborator. 62% find a possible friend. 9% a possible employee, 7% a possible employer. The list goes on. 10% of people say they're going to start a new business as a result of this 2-hour experience. 25% of people say they are going to source goods more locally, having that environmental piece in there. And interestingly for us, 62% of people say they're more willing to trust people when they're exchanging with others in terms of goods and services. So this is a process that we're looking to gain some feedback on in terms of what audiences you think might benefit most from this practice. I'm also going to drop a link in the chat to an upcoming offers and needs market in case anyone's interested in attending, because a presentation can only do so much about this, and it's something that's just really best experienced, and looking forward to your feedback. Thank you.
Right, it is a project, so it's not an ongoing venture. It is about, as the title might be a giveaway, so it is about climate change, and we're seeing climate change really in terms of 4 target outcomes. So decarbonisation, resilience, justice, and then circularity. And I think that together, those sort of come close to some of the main themes around regenerative futures. So if we could just go to the next slide, please, Jess. So this was born out of Walk to COP26. So this was a walk from London to Glasgow. We had 5 fellows participating, which was great, really appreciated that. And that was a walk, but it was really about bringing people together. And so bringing people together across different silos, so across businesses, across NGOs, elected politicians, students, university or school students, putting them in a town hall, getting them to talk to each other, and getting them to connect. And so we've carried forward certainly that sort of the sense that we contributed in a small way to creating those connections. We've carried those forward into the objectives for this particular initiative. So, yeah, sorry, it might be a bit small, but hopefully I'll be talking to each of these points anyway. So in terms of the objectives we're taking forward, this is about informing and educating. So that's not sort of talking out to people, that's creating an environment where people can talk to each other and educate each other, including ourselves. The second is forging solidarity. So I think we're massively fragmented and divided in the way we're addressing climate change at the moment. It's a huge issue. There's huge amounts of expertise and chat, but we're hugely divided. So that solidarity piece we think is really important. And then of course, connections. And those might be connections to build courage, to act. They might be connections because people have technical solutions. And so those are the objectives. That's what we're trying to focus on. So we retain this sort of sense of a journey that we had for the World COP26. Yes, that was global. That was physical, and this is more virtual. But we retained that sense of a journey. So we've got 14 town halls in 14 countries from Egypt, from Glasgow, going down to Egypt. Each of those town halls are showcases of local challenges, climate change challenges, and what's being done about them and the solutions as well. So the idea is that by participating in those, then we can learn about the differences as we go from north to south in different environments and different situations and different levels of wealth in terms of the economy. So then the question is sort of who do we bring to that level of content? And here is where we're reaching out internationally. So this is not just restricted to those 14 countries. This is international, including the US, including India. And we're reaching out across those different domains of national and local authorities, of businesses, the ones I mentioned. We're adding to this faith groups. So faith groups I saw pretty well organized in COP26. I thought they had a good impact. And so we've added those as another type of network to bring into this. And what we want people to do is from the 22nd of September is to join, to register, to get on the app, to log their distance, walked, cycled, run, or traveled in a wheelchair. That will get transmuted into trees planted. They can communicate within their teams. They can post the selfies of progress or whatever amongst the whole collective that we bring together. You can fundraise if you want to. And then crucially, at the last week as we go into COP, then it's about synthesizing the views of the people there. So we have some collaborative software that we can use to do a massive online collaboration and use that and use the power of the collective to get people to categorize, put up ideas, categorize, prioritize, and then develop something which we can then deliver to COP. So that's what it is. What we're in terms of the partners. So the RSA is a partner, and thank you RSA, certainly contributing by providing entrees into different fellows in the different countries, and particularly perhaps in Scotland. And you can see the names of the other partners there. We are applying to be a UNFCCC Climate Champions Race to Resilience partner. And we're adding some corporate partners to that list as well. And the current focus is twofold. One is to get those town halls set up in each of those countries. So that's establishing working groups. So we've got 6 working groups established so far. Those are between 10 and 20 organizations in those countries thinking about the town hall, and then also thinking about the most important organizations in those countries to mobilize against this opportunity. And then the second thing we're doing is just reaching out to big networks, and that might include, for instance, the RSA and the Fellows Network. It might include the 700,000 people in the Roots and Shoots network as part of the Jane Goodall Institute, etc. So reaching out to those networks and large organizations to prime them. So when the time comes, they engage with the individuals attached to them to join in this initiative. So next slide, please, Jess. So just in terms of some sort of reflections, I guess, on how people get involved in here. First of all and any comments and challenges and ideas very much welcome. But the first is to join a working group. So if you're in one of those countries, please join a working group. We'd love to see you there. And that process of the working group in itself, I hope, is in some way additive. So meeting people you haven't met before. The second is contribute to a town hall. You've got some fantastic, obviously, knowledge, speakers and expertise within the fellow network. So if you want to speak, regardless of where you are, let's have a chat about where you might fit and how that works. There's plenty of opportunity between the town halls on Clubhouse as well. The third is then to, and most importantly, really, is to think about the networks you're involved in. Those might be friends, family, your organization, your church group, whatever else. Think about how you might enlist the participation of those networks into this. I think it should be fun. It should feel like we're actually contributing in some shape or form. And really that thing about solidarities, that's what we're really trying to achieve. So anyway, think about participation. And then finally, yes, we're still thinking about some sponsorship. I'm trying to build up this tree planting fund. We've got some of it spoken for, and we still need to finish that. So all and any ideas welcome. Really, yeah, look forward to the participation of lots more fellows than the 6 we got on COP26. So thank you, everybody.